You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan Okelo, live from Seattle, Washington, USA. Thank you so much for joining me for another incredible session of the Daily African Proverbs. My name is Simon Javan Okelo, and I am in Seattle, Washington. I have been joined here by my wonderful friend, creator, writer, and just a leader that we should all learn poetry from. We should all learn something fresh from. And I want to bring you up here now, Chioma, so that everyone who is watching can see your face. And, how are you doing, Chioma? Just share with us for a moment.
I'm doing so much better seeing your face and being in this space. But yeah, I'm doing pretty good this morning.
That's fantastic. I am also doing well, and for those who are joining us, I do see that we have an excellent group of people on Clubhouse. We are actually on YouTube as well, so I am going to share with you the link to the YouTube live stream in just 1 second. But I want you to take a minute, think about a couple of people that should be with us for this conversation, and invite them through Clubhouse, and also invite them to the YouTube live stream, and share the link to this conversation on Clubhouse, and also share it elsewhere. Take a moment to do that now before we get started. Join us on the stage as well. I'm going to invite as many of you as I can to join us on the stage before we start our time together. Chioma is an incredible poet and a gifted leader, and I've been really privileged over the last few months. Chioma has graced the stage here in the Daily African Proverbs for the African Father in America podcast, where Chioma has taken these African proverbs, and created beautiful poems that also even take our understanding of these proverbs deeper. So today, if you're joining us for the first time, we are taking a virtual journey. Every day we take virtual journeys to different parts of the motherland. That's Africa. And today is no exception. Today we are going to an island off the coast of East Africa. That's Seychelles. And Seychelles is beautiful place. You should look it up, and maybe one day you could be there in real life. It's one of my dream destinations. Since it's so close to Kenya, many Kenyans actually go there for vacation and things like that. So growing up, I read a lot about it. There are so many Kenyan leaders and people who have the means that go there much more frequently. Now, when you look at this proverb, it says, it's not worth adding water to the sea. It's not worth adding water to the sea. I want you to think about what this proverb means to you. And, when I thought about this proverb, it brought to my mind, mental health as the theme for this proverb, and hopefully for this episode that we are recording for the African Father in America podcast. So it's not worth adding water to the sea reminded me that it's always difficult to protect our time, to protect our sanity, and we end up suffering as a result of not being able to protect our sanity, our space, especially around mental health. How do you do what you need to do while you're still sane, while you're still able to do what you need to do, with a steady, state of your mental health. So many times we also feel that the little things that we have to do to stay sane are not enough. They are like adding water to the sea, but the little efforts we make to ensure that we are healthy, especially mentally, are very, very critical. And so I want to share with you 3 tips, that I hope that can help, especially when it comes to your mental health. And then we are going to dive deeper. We are going to learn what this proverb means from Chioma's perspective. Then we are going to listen to a poem that Chioma has prepared for us, that is inspired by this proverb. And then we are going to go into what story from Chioma's childhood is she reminded about when she sees this proverb. And then we are going to talk briefly about Nature Photography Day. Today is Nature Photography. And in fact, I'm going to add what's going on in Tanzania, in the Ngorongoro area, where the Maasai tribe are being evicted from their ancestral land. This is one of the most beautiful places in the world, where many of us go to take pictures. Nature photography takes place in Maasai land. But currently, as we speak, the Maasai are being evicted from their ancestral land to create space for wealthy United Arab Emirates families to go hunting in Africa. So today, because today is Nature Photography Day, we are going to talk just a little bit about what's going on in the motherland as well, especially in Tanzania, where the government is evicting. One of the Maasai people are one of the last tribes in the world that are still living in nature. So we are going to talk more about that. Welcome, Simply E. Now, these are the 3 tips I want to share with you before we continue. Number 1, don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help, even when you think you have it figured out. Number 2, don't bottle up your feelings. Speak out so that people can, listen to how you feel. Because even though many people have a lot going on, even though many people are busy, the moment you speak, people are going to listen. And then take some time for yourself. For me, being here for the Daily African Proverbs is also a way that I am taking time for myself. So again, welcome. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. The link is at the top of the room, and that's on Clubhouse. And if you're watching on YouTube for the first time, make sure you tap in, push the notification bell so that when we are live, you can catch us next time. Now, Chioma, when you look at this proverb, it's not worth adding water to the sea. What is it that comes to your mind that you want to share with us today?
Okay, so oh my goodness, I feel like so many stuff came to my mind with this proverb. And so at first, when I read the proverb, what first came to mind is go where there is need. So like I thought about like, a purpose in the things that we have in our call to like give to the world is like go where there's need for those things. That was like the first thing that came to mind. And then as I started to think on it some more, and funny enough, as I was actually writing the poem, and I think this is the beauty of like writing and writing poetry is that like through writing and in writing, you get revelations, and you get to like look at things in other angles. So some of the other things that came to mind was actually birthed from actually like writing through it. So like another thing that came to mind is sort of like from like a growth and like a mental health standpoint is giving attention to things that you're not so good in or that you're struggling in or giving care to areas that need care. Because I think sometimes we can focus sometimes on like the areas that are kind of good already and that are like secure already and kind of like ignore or neglect the more so difficult things or the things that are harder. So giving energy to those things. And then like on the flip side, sometimes we can focus on the things that we're good at, and sometimes we can be good at not making great choices. So it's like giving to the giving and making the choice to do the thing that like is needed. And then what I also really liked about this proverb, and I was like, "Ooh, this is deep." So it actually speaks to both like what we're adding and what we're adding to, right? So it's like, so the proverb says, it's not worth adding water to the sea. So it speaks to both what we're adding and what we're adding to. And so it made me think like maybe there is something to add to the sea, but it's not water. Just because a thing doesn't need like X, Y, and Z doesn't mean that it doesn't need something else, right? And then it's also like you may have this thing, so you may have water, right? You may that might be what you have right now, but you're not necessarily supposed to give that to the sea. Maybe you're supposed to give that to like another area. So overall, this proverb really made me think of the importance of balance. So that was kind of like the big takeaway for me in this proverb is balance. And so that's all I have.
I agree. I agree. And going back to mental health, balance. Balance is very critical. Knowing when you need to take a break, knowing when you need to breathe. Last night I love taking my daughters to bed. My last one is 3 years old, and last night she could not just fall asleep. So, I had been in her room for a while. I shared a story with her, and eventually, she knows that I love meditating. So, eventually, she turned around and looked at me and said, "Daddy, breathe with me." So we kind of had a little meditation.
My heart. I love it so much.
I'm telling you, I was like, I turned around quickly because I was like, I also needed to, just breathe. So, so that moment there just reminded me of also just finding a balance. When we also think about what's going on in Tanzania, like you're saying, you should not add water to the sea. You could add it somewhere else. If the Tanzanian government wanted to please the United Arab Emirates, they could find another way to please them, not at the land of the Maasai. They could find another way. Tanzania is so big, and also Dubai is also so big. What do they want in hunting African animals?
Oh, I know. Come on.
Anyway, thank you again to all of you who are with us today for the Daily African Proverbs. It means a lot. Go ahead and join us on the stage. Hand raising is open. I would love to hear diverse voices this morning. This is a session that we do 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's recorded for the African Father in America podcast. And we can't do it on our own. We can't do it on our own. We count on you to contribute your voice to this conversation. So right now I am interviewing my special guest Chioma Sheri, who is a resident poet for the Daily African Proverbs every Wednesday. If you want to catch Chioma, this is the right place to do it. And also on her Instagram page, where she posts amazing poems every day. Really, she's been on a journey. Chioma, why do you post poems every day on your Instagram? This is not something we planned to talk about. Go ahead.
It's a mixture of things. I think we kind of talked about it earlier. Like I feel like I was wanted to challenge myself to really write and to write where I'm at, to write regardless of where I'm at. I think there's something beautiful in being consistent and showing like where you are, what you're thinking about. So just sharing has also been holding myself accountable. And yeah, it's just been a teaching and a lesson. And so I've done like 100-day challenges before, like twice. They were haiku. But this is my first time doing 365 days. which is tough. But I'm doing it, and I'm gonna keep doing it. And seeing people like you keep me encouraged, because you are extremely consistent in what you do. So yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. It's tough. It's literally pouring water in the ocean until the ocean becomes water.
Literally,
It
yeah.
contains fresh water instead of salty water. Anyway, that's great. So let's talk about the poem. Let's talk about the poem that you prepared for us today, that was inspired by the proverb. And also, before you share, Chioma, I do want to just welcome Simply E, who is an amazing poet as well, and also one of the people that made Africa Day possible this year. Simply, go ahead and just introduce yourself, and also help me reset this room, especially for those who are on Clubhouse, so that they can learn how we do this every week.
Thank you, Simon. And I'm still on a high from Africa Day. Oh my goodness. It always, even from last year, the vibes that came off of Africa Day, it stuck with me for a while afterwards. And it still is this time as well. I'm simply either poetess. I love what I do as a poet. I love listening to Chioma. So I've got a personal place in my heart for her when I'm listening to how she's breaking down the Proverbs as well. And I'm also a voice actress, and so I love both of the spaces, as well as some other things that I dibble and dabble in, yoga and some other spaces. You are now an African father in America, and depending on where you are, you can be on YouTube right now watching the face of Simon. um, because he's actually there live. And then also, depending on what you like most, if you're on Clubhouse, if you've got something to say, you can raise your hand. We'll be happy to bring you up so you can kind of give us a little bit of insight from your side. If you love what you're hearing, you would definitely want to welcome the people around you that you know would enjoy and enhance the space as well. There's always something good going on in here, and the sense of community is just off the wall. I love being in this space, and thank you again, Simon, for just holding space for me.
You're most welcome. Thank you very much. I had no idea you do voice acting, so I want to learn more. I'm sure we could. We,
I love
yeah,
your voice.
simply. Go ahead, Chioma.
Oh,
No, I was
yeah.
just saying,
Let's talk about it then.
so beautiful.
Yeah,
I'm
simply.
sorry, Shioma.
Oh, I was just saying that your voice is really beautiful, so it doesn't surprise me that you do voice acting.
Thank you. Thank you.
Fantastic. So, again, Chioma, I want to create space for you to now share with us the poem.
Right. Alrighty, so the poem. To the place that's lacking, give to it. To the space that's dark, touch it with light. To the silence, speak to it. Where there is trouble, bring peace. That thing that you need, seek it, make it. It's not worth adding water to the sea, feeding tears to what has cried enough, giving what's abundant. Plants can drown with too much water. Not water, but too much water. Remember that it needs other things, enough space for other things like air and sunlight and soil and love. Don't overpour and forget. Don't underpour and neglect. Sounds like a challenge, doesn't it? This balance, doesn't it? But it's what the earth needs, what we all need. It's worth it. You're worth it. Finish.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Chioma. I love how balance is also the theme of this beautiful poem, and also when you talk about plants, I almost want to say, a little more about it, because I'm always spending time with plants, and it's not only they need water, but not too much water, and it's not only the water that they need space. They even need space from other plants. Sometimes when you grow seedlings, you have to actually grow seedlings together, and then once they get to a certain age, you have to separate them so that they have more space for their roots to go deeper, for them to give you the fruits that you're looking for. So I love that. Simply E, share with us your thoughts on this beautiful piece.
I love the the fact that Chioma really goes deep in these. So, if nothing more, that is, you've got my respect in that, and it's so consistent
Thank
that
you.
you do that. Yeah, it's just it's a it's I would even dare to say it's a method. I think what you've done is created a method at this point. Um, I love how you um, go down to the bare bones of things. And so um, I think I'm still meditating now at this point with what you said, but I love it. I loved it. I love the simplicity of it. Um, I think a kid could come in the room right now and they would have gotten it. And so thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, Chioma, thank you again. I always work hard to ensure that I get you the proverbs as soon as they're ready. And Chioma is always good at holding me accountable. Send that proverb because you need a few days to turn the proverb into a poem. And now I understand the power of this piece. Demonstrates why you need to sit with the proverb and then create the poem out of it. So who knows, I might be a poet just by spending too much time with poets.
Poetry is life.
I know, it's a good life. It's not just life, it's a good life. So
Yes.
so Chioma, take us back to maybe a story of what this proverb reminds you of when you look back, when you reflect through your childhood. Is there any specific story that you want to share with us today that this proverb reminds you of?
So it's so funny because I feel like not even a childhood story for me, it's so relevant to me right now, to my mental health right now, and even in like my writing journey. Sometimes, because I'm gonna be real honest, sometimes a lot of times when I'm feeling things, I can really like pour into that feeling a lot, and I can do that also in my writing. And then there are times where I have to like challenge myself to like try another thing. Like, okay, if I'm feeling a little sad right now or a little down right now, let me see if I can write a poem about this, or like a poem on gratitude or something on happiness, even if it's a struggle to do, trying to do that. So I think it's so relevant to me right now because like even as like I'm journeying, getting older, getting stronger in certain areas, I feel like I always have to like remind myself of that. Like, hey, try that new thing or try that other thing that you know is good for you, but you're not doing. So yeah, that's kind of like, it's very relevant to my right now.
Yeah, it's always a delicate balance. Even once you know that something is good for you, you still question it. You still question it. Should I write a poem today? Should I go for a run today? Should I go for a hike? Should I do yoga today? Is yoga even good enough for me? The mind. It's always a situation where you actually have to conquer your mind. I was watching, not watching, but I've watched so many videos of one of the greatest athletes he's actually currently the fastest marathon runner in the world. He's from Kenya, and I've just been curious, over the last few years about how he maintains his mental state and how he trains his body to persevere for to run for so long. And he always speaks about conquering your mind, that the race is not on the track, or it's not run by your legs, but by your mind. So he's always talking about, you run a marathon in your mind, so you have to focus on conquering your mind in order for you to conquer, the marathon. Anyway, I just wanted to share that as we continue on with our conversation today. My special guest is Chioma Sheri, who is a poet, writer, creative, and we've learned Chioma's interpretation of today's proverb from Seychelles, and we have also learned we've listened to a really nice poem that Chioma made specifically for this conversation, and it was inspired by this poem that we are discussing. And we also learned a story that this proverb reminds Chioma about. And then now we want to go a little further. Today is Nature Photography Day, June 15th, especially here in the US. Many of us, when we are out in nature, we always take pictures for the gram. We take videos for the reel, the TikToks, but we forget that, similar to how we should not be adding water to the sea, nature, the forests, the trees, they're also like the sea. Maybe they need some more water, maybe they need something else. So on such a day when nature photographers are being celebrated, I wanted to bring this to your attention, Chioma, so that you could just share your perspective, a few thoughts, especially what are some nature-based activities that you can recommend for creatives this summer, because it's only in nature that you can also find yourself.
Oh, that was so beautiful, Simon. Okay, Simon, with that quote. Ooh, it's only in nature you can find yourself.
I
I love
told
that.
you, I'm a poet.
You are. So some nature activities that I could suggest for creatives and honestly for anyone. Hiking, just going outside for a walk. And that doesn't have to be like anything like extreme. Like I know there's a lot of people who, run and walk miles and miles and miles, but it doesn't even have to like be that deep. You can just walk around the block a few times or whatever. And also like I think while doing that is sometimes trying to do that like either like in silence, maybe not listening to music, but listening to like the outside and the sounds of outside, the sounds of nature. And I also like in saying this, I really want to give a shout out to the organization Girl Trek, which really they're about just like Black women getting out and walking and taking control of like our health and wellness. And they've definitely been encouraging me to like walk more. So I'm like doing this walking challenge as well. And they're little things like, hey, walk to the store, walking here, walking there. So definitely walking. I think also sitting outside, just sitting outside. So whether that's like sitting in your park, sitting on your porch, sitting on the steps, just literally just sitting outside and being outside. Sometimes maybe you want to do a picnic with a friend or whatever. Those are some of the activities that I would suggest. And another thing that I'm trying to do that I've done before, but I need to really do again is really like sitting outside and letting the outside like um letting the outside inspire like my poetry and inspire a poem, and sometimes like going to explore like a different place outside. That could also be something really fun, like walking in a different like neighborhood, a different area that you haven't explored before. So those are some of the things that I would suggest. You can do all sorts of things. You go swimming, you can do this, but they're really like simple activities that you can also do.
Man, I just, as you're speaking, I just thought of, and I hope you all noted those great ideas. I just thought of,
Me too, Simon.
huh?
You can go to a community. You can go to a community like farm or a park or whatever, and like plant, like do something. Like, come on, Simon, speak to it. That's what you do.
I definitely will apply some of the tips you've given us today, this summer, in my own life. I'm actually planning to go camping, with my daughters. But there's something that I thought was funny, but also not so funny, not more realistic. Going out and doing a performance for the trees, like if you're a poet, imagine the tree being the biggest stage, the forest being the biggest stage you've ever been to, and just giving the trees the most amazing.
Simon.
Huh?
I like that, Simon.
I like it too, So now I think I should just take my TT and go out and just play for the trees. And who knows, I'm sure the ancestors will be listening, if not the actual trees.
Oh my God, I love that idea.
Right.
You just speaking today, Simon. Okay.
And you know what? The trees are like, they're older than a lot of people that we know. So you'd have a mature audience.
That's beautiful. Yeah, so I'll definitely implement that. I'll share the video. When I do it, I'll definitely share the video, and I hope to do it more often. But if you're just joining us, this is the Daily African Proverbs. My name is Simon Okelo. I am the host of the African Father in America podcast, and we are live on YouTube and also on Clubhouse. If you're on Clubhouse, please remember to ping in 3 to 5 people to join us for this conversation. Share the link to the room within and outside of Clubhouse, and also follow the club. Join the African Father in America club. Nominate 3 to 5 people to join the club as well. But don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's one of the ways that you can support this incredible movement of bringing ancestral wisdom to the forefront of daily life. Now I want to actually share a little ad. I am producing Madoraka Festival on August 13th and 14th in Seattle. I was wishing Chioma would come, but she has better things to do. But I'm going to play the ad anyway. So if you're on YouTube, you're going to see it. It's just 30 seconds. Then from there, we are going to listen to our audience members. We are going to actually start with you, Simply E. You're going to share your interpretation of this proverb, then Bibi, then Lavender. So I'm going to play the ad now. Man, I'm getting so good at this live streaming business. I didn't know I could do that until before we started this session. Chioma and I actually tested it, and now that it works, I'll be using it every day. So I'll be promoting Madoraka Festival during these Daily African Proverb sessions. This is going to be a virtual event as well. It will be in person for 2 days in Seattle. It's been 8 years, since I started producing Madoraka Festival, and Lavender, who is in the audience, is co-producing this year's event with me. She helped produce the 2019 Madoraka Festival in Kenya. So you can tap in with her if you want to be involved. We are looking for volunteers, vendors, sponsors, partners. So just tap in with Lavender or me directly, and you will be able to be involved. So now I want to come to you, Simply E. When you hear this proverb from Seychelles, it's not worth adding water to the sea. What is it that comes to your mind? And also, if you have any comments to the conversation we've been having with Chioma, feel free. And Chioma, take notes. I would love for you to reflect towards the end of our time together. Thank you so much.
I think there's just so many beautiful things in the sea, right? And the sea is just not made of water. There are so many things that make it up, that make it so beautiful and interesting, and um, right. And depending on the time of day that you go, you can walk further out in order to be on the sand, or further in, depending on where the tide is. And so, if you want to bring more seawater to the sea, I mean, it just doesn't make sense, right? There's so many other things that you can bring, and I think that what it does is it's not worth adding water to the sea. It makes us look at ourselves and what we have to add. What do we bring to the table? Or what are the things that we could bring to the table? Is, I think, the most important thing. Because a lot of times we're sitting there with things that we have available to us, that we've been blessed with, and maybe we take for granted as something that we can't offer. But if we take a second glance, we'll say, hey, I actually do have something to offer. I have some value here. I may not look at it as such a big thing, but I'm actually adding to a bigger picture with this small thing, maybe, or this thing that could become bigger to somebody else. And so that's my interpretation of the African proverb today. Thank you again, Simon.
Thank you, Simply. As you're speaking, it reminded me so much about the daily African proverbs. When I began sharing these proverbs a couple of years ago online, I was still doing 9 to 5, and so I was pushing these things, going to work. People at work would be talking about them. I would feel, a little, uneasy about it, because people don't understand the value of African proverbs and the depth of it. And even myself, I didn't understand what I was getting myself into. But then I began realizing the benefits of actually connecting with people even who know, African wisdom even much more than I do. Connecting with people like Gogo Rutendo Ngara, connecting with people like Chioma, and just building a community out of it made me realize that there's a gap, and little by little, we are going to get there. So thank you, Bibi. How are you doing? I would love to hear your perspectives as well. The proverb we are discussing today says that this proverb is from Seychelles. It says it's not worth adding water to the sea. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. And Simon, I just gotta say the music is very beautiful for the ad for Madoraka. And Chioma, that poem, I just felt it to the core.
Hi, Bibi. Your audio is really low today. Could you
Oh,
get closer to the mic?
yes. Can you hear me
Oh,
now?
it's so good now. Keep going.
All right. Yes. Oh, sorry. I was saying, Chioma, I love that poem. It was so deep. And I think I teared a little bit listening to that. So it was very beautiful. And thank you for sharing. And my interpretation is actually similar to what you shared earlier, and it all boils down to balance. And sometimes in life, we may be overwhelmed with things that we just don't realize that we don't have to keep adding on to. Instead, we can subtract or just eliminate and add something else to it. And I'm also a girl trek. I started girl trek here in Clarks. Well, um, I started walking here about 2 years ago, and I got few of my neighbors to do the walks with me. So even if we don't do it together anymore, but they still go out there and walk for at least 30 plus minutes while listening to the podcast. So I feel like, yay, I did my part. But yes, I'm a totally a girl tracker, and I started walking way before I started running races
Mm.
and stuff. And if you listen to the podcast or interact with any runners anywhere in the world, you'll know that the number one reason for them running is not really for physical needs or desires. It's mainly to conquer their minds. And that was my reason too for running. Well, one, because I do love the sport, and two, it was really to help me with my mindset, and it's my happy pill that I quite enjoy doing. And as far as the interpretation goes, sometimes in life, don't drown with your problems by yourself, definitely, and there'll always be help. You just have to reach out sometimes. And as far as pouring water in the ocean, it's totally not worth it, because as we all know, the sea is made of water. So instead of putting water, why don't you get out the plastics in the sea? That's my take. And thank you so much.
I love it. Thank you so much, Bibi. Um, there's so much. Go ahead, Chioma.
No, I was just saying it's so good. Like,
I know, I know. Are you taking notes so that you can reflect on everyone's share in a moment?
there were things that you said that weren't even like necessarily totally proverb related, but like it was still so good. Like you said, I started walking before I started running, and I was like, ooh, that was a word.
That's
So
right.
yeah,
That's
thank
right.
you for your whole share.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you again, Bibi. Hey, Lavenda, how are you doing? Where are you joining us from? And what are your perspectives on this proverb from Seychelles? For those who are just joining us, we are discussing a beautiful African proverb, and it says, it's not worth adding water to the sea. Lavenda?
Hi, Simon. Hi, everyone. I'm Lavender. I'm speaking from Nairobi, Kenya. Simon, thank you again for um, the opportunity to share my thoughts on today's proverb. It's not worth adding water to the sea. For me, I feel like this proverb is encouraging us to do things in moderation. And when I read this proverb, what comes to mind is too much of something is dangerous. So when we do things in moderation, um, it's more effective. When we overdo it, we might spoil whatever we are doing or working on. Thank you, Simon. I'm Lavender and I'm complete.
Thank you so much, Lavender. Could you also add, I love everything you said, by the way. Could you speak to the room that you're hosting today, the Travel in Africa room, so that everyone who is here can also join us for that session?
Thank you, Simon. I'd like to welcome everyone for our room tonight. It's at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's Travel in Africa. We talk about everything travel. Today's topic will be exotic destinations in Africa. You're all welcome, and I can't wait to see you all there. Thank you.
Perfect. Exotic destinations in Africa. That's a really exciting topic that I can't wait to be a part of. Alexis, I haven't seen you in a minute. I hope you're doing well. I would love to hear your voice and your perspectives on today's proverb. It's not worth adding water to the sea. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Simon. I have definitely missed you all. Grand Rising, everyone. Habari za Sabui. And my interpretation of the proverb today is the sea is whole without adding anything to it, just like our minds. Our mind is just our spirit and our soul. We're already whole without adding anything to it. Just to give an example, if you add water to the sea, like rainwater to the sea will flood. That's the same thing that happens to our mind when you allow external stimuli to influence your actions, to influence your thoughts, to influence your words, to influence your feelings. When external stimuli influence us, our minds, our spirits, our souls can flood. And when you flood, you get confused. There's confusion, there's anger. Some negative things may creep in because you're flooded with so much. But just like I was looking at Lavender, I was looking at her, and it was so powerful. The proverb that she shared on her bio is, if there is no enemy within, the enemy outside can do no harm. So we are all whole, and as we need to be from the inside, if we act from internal stimuli, then no water from the outside, nothing from the outside can flood us. I am Lexi, and I am complete.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you again, Lexi. It means a lot that you're here with us today. We want to move on to you, Debbie. Debbie, how are you doing, and where are you joining us from? And what does today's proverb from Seychelles mean to you?
Greetings, everyone. Appreciation to Simon and all the participants for the call. My name is Debbie Berlin, aka Game Dev Debbie. I'm joining from Maryland, close to Washington, D.C. This proverb speaks to me about using our voice when it comes to problems, because the sea is an ocean full of problems, and we can use our voice to complain about them, or we can use our voice to find solutions. And so to that, I say, I look around and the problems that I see are as big as the ocean, as the sea. Makes me think about me. What can I do? My responsibility. How can I use my power to make change? My voice is just one drop of rain, but I can plan just where I make it land. In the ocean or on the dry land. The ocean is full. It doesn't need from me another drop of complaining in the sea. I'll put my water where effective it can be. Towards a solution. Can you help me see? We come together and this we will know. We can make our own river flow. Rush forward, mighty as we go. Join us more and more. Let's focus on solutions that we see. Use our water effectively. Use our worth and do the work, and because it's not worth adding water to the sea. Thank you.
Chioma, you have to say something about this.
No, I was just snapping. I said, "Come on now, Debbie. I just love what you bring to the space. Like you got me thinking. Like we just need like a whole poetry room for the for the proverb." And I just love the line, "We can make our own river flow." I was like, "That's so beautiful." I noted that. And always, I just love your energy, Debbie. And I just love that I feel like we're in this together because like I share a poem and now you come in here, you're sharing a poem. I just love it. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
I love the rhythmic vibe to your poem. I could literally start playing a drum to it, or just nodding my head to it. So thank you again. Stella, how are you doing? What are your perspectives on this proverb? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Simon. Okay. How is everyone? Hi, Chioma. Thanks for that beautiful poem. So today's proverb, it reminds me of some traumatic moments I went through last year, and I think it's basically emphasizing on choosing your battles wisely, because when you sometimes when you react so much to the things that happen around you, you end up losing, let's say, your head. And when you lose your head, you can end up losing everything. So in this case, like in my case, I simply walked away peacefully, and it really helped me in dealing with the traumatic moment. So I think this proverb is just trying to emphasize that we try and choose our battles wisely. And also there's there's a way Luos like say something in an argument uh, that I can translate into something that goes like, you can't mop the lake, or you can't mop an ocean. So basically, I think it's emphasizing on choosing your battles wisely. Thank you so much for this space, Simon, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Stella and Chioma. Chioma, go ahead.
No, just your share, Stella, made me think of something else that came to mind with this proverb, and it's like, don't add a flame to fire. So yeah, just your whole share just like really reminded me of that, and like the beauty of just like kind of stepping back.
I love that. I love that. Hey, Kay, how are you doing? Where are you joining us from? And what does this proverb mean to you?
Hi, I'm in Atlanta, um, and my C um, was depression, and the depression would be from living in a system that was not built in my, well, actually against me, functioning in that system, family stuff, and also a chemical depression, something it would just come on me, this darkness. And so I noticed when the depression would come, I would seek other things that were wrong. In other words, I would feed the depression. And there's this nice sign that I saw one time. It said, "Do not feed the fear." And that was very exciting for me to find. But I started something. I challenged myself 4 days ago. I said, instead of letting my feelings decide how I'm going to feel, I'm going to be in charge. So I'm like, how can I do that? And I decided to every day wake up happy. And I go to the mirror and I smile. And so I have a 30-day challenge to smile in the mirror. The first smile I'll see is my own. And I've noticed I smile even during the course of the day much more often. And even sometimes when I have that darkness come on, I just smile and it changes the continent. It changes. It's like when I learned about breathing, and it seems that it moves energy out and lets new energy come in sometimes. So I'm finding that smiling is having that positive thing for me too. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Kay. I love that. I love how you can train yourself to be happier, and just choosing happiness. Latanja, how are you, and where are you joining us from, and what are your perspectives on today's proverb from Seychelles? It says it's not worth adding water to the sea.
Yes, good day, Simon. It's so good to be in this space. And I did attend your virtual festival once before and had an awesome time. I'm looking forward to it again this year. Congratulations and keep thriving. As you say that it's not worth adding water to the sea, I say let go of things you have no control over. Embrace change as a way of having self accountability and integrity. Oftentimes, we take on larger matters that tend to weigh us down. I say, give it to the Almighty and watch how He'll turn things around. It's not worth adding water to the sea. Allow yourself to live in the moment by simply letting things be. The sea is complete. It fills our spirit with comfort, heals our hearts with joy, and provides delight to our feet. And I yield.
That's excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We'll go on to you, Flamingo. We are getting towards the end of our time together here, and then we'll go to Brother to close us out. Chioma, I'll just give you a chance to share a few remarks to wrap us instead of the poem. Flamingo, go ahead, please.
Thank you for creating this space, Simon. Once again, it's very beautiful and it's kind of like a spiritual experience, and keeping the wisdom of the ancestors alive I believe our ancestors were our philosophers, and I hope we can raise them up to the same or even higher levels than how we celebrate Western philosophers like Aristotle and Plato. These were our ancestors, the earliest philosophers in history, I believe. So thank you for keeping their wisdom alive. Um, I'll just keep it very short. I think the ocean has so many different ways of interacting with. We can go scuba diving, we can go sailing, we can go swimming. So having the wisdom of knowing how to approach things is what this proverb reminds me of. Um, Instead of adding water to the ocean, think about other ways of engaging and interacting with the ocean. And as a lover of the ocean, we go at least twice or three times a month. I absolutely see the ocean as a healing, calming experience for me and my family. And I'm done speaking. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you again. So much to dissect out of everything you just said. But I'll go to you, brother. Brother, how are you? Where are you joining us from? And what does this proverb mean to you?
Peace and love, family. It's Brother Earth. I'm in North Carolina territory. And again, honors to you, Simon, Chioma, Simply, all the beautiful poetry, and all the other wisdom shared by the family. And when I looked at this proverb here, it's not worth adding water to the sea. I see that as saying, take pride in not fitting in to or just following the crowd. Oftentimes when someone starts selling t-shirts, next thing you know, everybody's selling t-shirts. If one person gets into crypto, next thing you know, everybody's a crypto guru. The same goes with the stock market, and it goes on and on. With that being said, that reminds me of my mom asking me, if all your friends jump off a bridge, do that mean you gonna jump too? So, with that being said as well, following kind of along the lines of what Chioma said, um, it's about finding where your water or uniqueness has the most value or can be the most appreciated and apply it there opposed to where it's already oversaturated. I come in love and leave in pieces, brother.
Yeah, that was beautiful. I can't even say anything in addition to what you said. The way that people copy each other, human beings are copycats, everybody wants to sell t-shirts. When one person starts selling t-shirts, everybody is a crypto guru because someone is a crypto guru. Anyhow, Chioma, close it out for us with your reflections on the entire conversation from our guests today.
So I just want to say, like, this fed my spirit so much. Like, each of y'all shares, like, it made me so happy and just so grateful. So thank y'all so much. So I'm just gonna like go through some of the things that kind of like stood out to me. So Simon, you said sometimes we feel like the little things that we do aren't critical. And that really hit me. You said don't be afraid to ask for help, don't bottle up your feelings, and take time for yourself. Simply E, you said there's so many beautiful things in the sea, and it's not just made of water. um, you said it makes us look at ourselves and what we have to add or what we could add or like adding to the bigger picture. BB, you said sometimes in life we may be overwhelmed with things that we realize we don't have to keep adding to. Like we don't have to keep adding to the things that overwhelm us. Like sometimes we can subtract from those things or add something else. Lavender, you said you said doing things in moderation it's more effective. So encouraging us to do things in moderation, that moderation is truly what's most effective. Alexis, you said we're already whole without adding anything. Like we ourselves are whole. You said when external stimuli influence us, our souls can flood. If we act from internal stimuli, external things can't flood us. And I thought that was just really beautiful. Debbie, you reminded us, you said using our voice when it comes to problems. And you said we can make our own river flow. Kay, I just love the challenge that you have for yourself, your 30-day smile challenge. I was like, I'm going to add that to a challenge that I do. And like how we have the power to like make the choice to do something else, so we don't have to like add to like our own depression. Like how can we do something different? Like making that choice to wake up happy really like hit me, so I'm definitely gonna steal that challenge. Okay. Latanja, you said let go of things you have no control over, embrace change, give larger problems to the Almighty. And that really sat with me. Also, that was like high key poetry. I'm pretty sure that was a poem. And that was beautiful. So thank you so much. And Flamingo, you said having the wisdom of knowing how to approach things. Think of other ways of interacting with the ocean. So thank you for that. And thank you for talking about your love for the ocean, because I also have like a space in my heart for the ocean as well. Though I don't interact with it as much. Brother, you said take pride in not fitting in, not following the crowd, finding where your uniqueness has the most value. So yeah, these are the things that really just hit me and sat with me, and I'm just really grateful. So thank y'all.
Thank you, Chioma. And I'm sharing an office with my wife, so another meeting just started on the other side. So bear with me in case you're hearing some sounds from that are getting into the mic now. But today has been an amazing time together, and I just thank you, Chioma, for taking the time, and I thank you all for joining us for today's conversation. And we will see you tomorrow, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. This is a beautiful place for us to wrap up. Thank you again, Chioma.
Thank you.
Thank you.
African father in America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Africa, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze.
You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan Okelo, live from Seattle.